everyone's doing well. Just start off by recapping the Southern Miss game. Thought it was a great win over a quality in-state opponent. Excited to be 1-0 this week, 2-0 overall, and cracking the coaches poll for the first time this year at number 23. Certainly want to thank our fans for their support this weekend, braving the conditions and providing one of the greatest atmospheres in all of college football. So that was awesome to be home at Davis Wade for the first time. Thought our guys fought through some adversity. Thought we didn't flinch and found a way to win. I think that speaks a lot to our current culture, our leadership, and the chemistry of our team, and I really like the direction that's heading this season. I thought we had a lot of young guys gain some valuable experience. By my count, there were 12 first-year players, 9 of whom were true freshmen, with notable performances by Garrett Schrader, Lee Witherspoon, and Martin Emerson. And at one point during the game, for a majority of the fourth quarter, I think, 3 of the 11 players on the offensive side of the ball were true freshmen, with Garrett, Lee, and then Charles Cross playing left tackle. I also think that's a good sign, for our you had 6 in-state kids that are true freshmen with the ability to get on the field. What can happen when you stay home and decide to play for a state university? You have an opportunity to get on the field right away. Reiterate what a great job was by our strength and conditioning training staff and sports nutrition staff throughout the week, really focusing on our hydration, our nutrition, and not just on Saturday morning, because at that point it's you got to be doing that all week, and I thought our staff did a really nice job there. For performance indicators, won the explosive play battle 12-9, won the turnover battle 0 for us, 3 for them. Red zone battle, 3 of 4 red zone touchdowns for us. They didn't score in the early trip in the red zone. Third down percentage, we won 33% to 22%, 33%. We got to do a better job there offensively. Drive start battle, it was 40-yard line for us, 20-yard line for them, and then we lost the penalty battle 2-1. Our players of the week and our scouts of the week on offense, back-to-back, Kylan Hill, another local in-state product, decided to stay home and play for the state university, doing a great job there. The offensive scout was Robert Rivers. Defensively, Marquise Spencer, another in-state guy, was our defensive player of the week. Willie Gay was our scout team player of the week, did a great job, another in-state guy. And then Javonte Payton was our special team. Javonte Payton, long A, Payton was our scout team, or was our special teams player of the week, and Simon Anderson was our scout team special teams player of the week. Student athletes of the week were Isaiah Zuber and Fred Peters. Just some notable stats that Bill dug up here. Darrell Williams was named the SEC Co-Offensive Lineman of the Week, second honor of his career, and it's the 4th by Mississippi State Offensive Lineman since the start of last season. In terms of turnover margin, we're 4th in the nation right now and 1st in the SEC at +5. I've already forced 7 turnovers this season, which was a major point of emphasis for us on that side of the ball. And I've had 18 consecutive games with a takeaway, which is the second longest streak in the country. From a penalty perspective, I know that was a little bit of a deal for us last year. Early on in the season, I think we got it cleaned up a little bit as it went along. But right now, we're the least penalized team in the SEC and 8th in the nation. Another point of emphasis for us entering the season was the efficiency and explosiveness of our pass game. Right now, we're 164.3 through 2 games. The best through the first 2 games of the season since 2014. As a team, we have completed 70.6% of our passes. That's the best through the first 2 games of the season since 2001. And Kylan Hill leads all Power 5 players in rushing with 160 yards per game. So that's everything for Southern Miss. Once again, excited about that game. And then moving on to Kansas State. Big time non-conference Power 5 game in Davis Wade Stadium this weekend. I need everybody to come out again at full force and support us for an 11 a.m. kickoff. The first time a non-conference Power 5 team visits Davis Wade since Georgia Tech in 2009. It's also the first time we will host a Big 12 opponent at the time of the meeting in Davis Wade Stadium since Oklahoma State in 1999, and only the 5th time since 2000 that a non-conference Power 5 opponent comes to Davis Wade Stadium, and just the 4th meeting between Mississippi State and Kansas State, and the 1st in Starkville since 1974. Their head coach, Chris Kleiman, is one of the best coaches in the country at any level, and I think his record indicates that, and certainly, I won't say took a similar path, but really did a great job at the FCS level. His overall coaching record is 74-13 all time, 2-0 at Kansas State. I said, rose up through the FCS ranks, hired at Kansas State after 5 years at North Dakota State. He was a 7-time national champion, 4 times as a head coach, tied for the most as a head coach in FCS history with Jim Tressel. Has the 3rd highest winning percentage among all active NCAA head football coaches, and he's won 23 straight games. So that's pretty impressive. At the FCS end of season banquet, when Chase Edmonds, our tailback at Fordham, won the Jerry Rice Award for National Freshman of the Year, I had a chance to meet Coach and talk to him, and as good of a football coach as he is, he's an unbelievable person. He's a great guy. So look forward to seeing him again. On offense, Courtney Messingham, their tight ends coach, is the coordinator. It'll be a little bit of a different attack. I won't say non-traditional, I guess. Traditional, non-traditional, now that not many people are running kind of two. So they're 21, 22, and 12 personnel. They're leading the nation in rushing yards this season, averaging 50 a game through 2, rushing for 347 and passing for 200. Quarterback's number 10, Skylar Thompson, has 363 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Very smart, very efficient, very accurate. 2 running backs, both transfers, James Gilbert from Ball State and then Jordan Brown, a graduate transfer from North Carolina. They kind of pace that very potent rushing attack. Leading receivers, Malik Knowles, 125 yards, 2 touchdowns on the season. Very fast, crisp route runner, and very reliable hands. Defensive coordinator, Scotty Hazelton. He's a linebackers coach. They're a base four-down team. Play a lot of mixture of 1 and 2 high coverages and really do a great job getting after the passer on 3rd down. Very highly ranked through 2 games, 8th in the country in total defense, giving up only 7 points per game. On the D-line, number 99, Trey Dyshon. Honorable mention, all Big 12 last year, and once again comes back. He does a great job anchoring down, holding the point, and causing disruption in the middle. Their number 5, the Will linebacker, Daquan Patton, 70 tackles and 18, which led the team. And on the back end, A.J. Parker had 53 tackles, 2 interceptions, 8 pass breakups last year, and has 1 interception so far this year. The special team duties are split amongst the staff, and I know it's a new kind of regime there, but historically Kansas State's done a very, very good job on special teams. They're averaging 29 to kickoff return with a long of 44. Lance Thompson, number 2 defensive back, is a productive special teams core player. 3 tackles inside the 25 on kickoff, and then Malik Knowles on kickoff return has 1 return for 27 yards. So once again, it's going to come down to how well we prepare, what type of effort we give, and what's our execution level against a great, a very good Power 5 game at Davis Wade Stadium, and we got to continue to take it one at a time, have great singleness of purpose, and have a great week of practice, which I think we're going to do. And excited for this thing to kick off at 11 on Saturday. Any questions?
Get a mic to you. Start with Steve.
Coach Tommy left the game in the 2nd quarter, did not return. What is his status for this week?
Yeah, he's still day to day. He come through yesterday, got treatment. He's going to get some more today. It's a player's off day, but we're going to see where it goes as the week progresses. If this time last week you would ask me about Darrell Williams, I would have said that he wasn't going to play, that he was out, but he progressed pretty quickly. So we're going to see where it goes with Tommy and how he progresses during the week. So I don't want to rule him out completely, and we'll just see how it goes.
You mentioned 21 and 22 they run. But,
personnel, yep.
What do you think the biggest difference is from a climbing coach team compared to facing Coach Schneider at Kansas State?
I think maybe schematically it's a little bit different, but I think in terms of mentality and philosophy and culture, they're not trying to trick you a bunch. They're not trying to create a bunch of diversion schematically in any of the phases, but they recruit tough, smart, disciplined kids who play with tremendous effort, and they're not going to beat themselves. So in terms of similarities between the 2 things, and I think that's probably why Coach Kleiman fit the mold of what Kansas State is accustomed to, and I think that's why it's been a good seamless transition for them.
Yeah.
Coach Martin Emerson, you mentioned earlier, got the interception last week. Between him and Jerry Jones, made some plays at the camp and all that. What have you seen from that group? And I guess I know Brian Cole was saying that he calls them thing 1 and thing 2. What have you seen?
He called them that?
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah. What have you seen from those 2? Just as youngsters?
A lot of talent, very eager and very competitive, and I think when you combine those things, that it's very important to J-Dub and Martin to be good at football. And I don't want to sound overly simplistic with it, but they like Garrett, I mentioned after the game, they do not lack confidence. They believe they can play at this level, and they've earned a right through how they performed in camp and at the early part of the season. So, I think the sky's the limit for both those guys. We got to coach Martin up a little bit on his ball security after the interception, but they're going to have a very good season in the future for those guys. It's very bright as well.
A couple questions, Coach. Besides Tommy, any other injury concerns going into the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, just normal bumps and bruises. I don't think there's anyone, we mentioned last week, like Darian Parker's a guy that, with a lower body that we probably won't see this week, but everyone else is pretty much bumps and bruises.
Obviously, it's still early and you haven't gotten into SEC play yet, but just anything you can put your finger on with the changing of the offense and the success you've had this year compared to last year, or anything sticking out to you that you've seen?
I'd just say we've improved in the areas that we needed to improve the most, and I don't think we're rushing the ball any differently, but kind of all the things I talked about in the offseason and leading up to the first game about if we pass the ball better, it will help, both phases, and the better we pass the ball, the more carries that we can give to the running back, and, efficiency and explosiveness in the pass game and spreading the ball around. And I think you're seeing probably some of the same things that we did in the run game last year from a production standpoint, but more carries in a very specific manner to go to the running back and take them away from the quarterback. So that's one thing, and I think we're seeing, we're doing a better job throwing the ball. We're doing a better job protecting. We're doing a better job getting open, and when they are open, we're doing a better job throwing it accurately. It's allowing us to be pretty balanced.
Last year, about 2/3 of the way through the season, you made a comment about you felt like you had lost your identity as a play caller. 2 games in now, how do you feel about yourself as a play caller?
Yeah, I think I lost it and found it, and I think that was probably prior to the Texas A&M game after LSU that I said that, and I think we got it back a little bit for Texas A&M, and I think we hit a little bit of stride. Obviously not against Alabama, but when you have confidence on every call that's on the sheet that you can call it and something positive is going to happen, I think that allows you to maintain that level of aggressiveness. And right now as it stands with us going through 2 games, you feel just as comfortable with calling one of the pass plays as you do, calling a run play, and that always wasn't the case last year. And now with what we're doing and how we're executing in that phase of the game, it allows you to be more aggressive because of the confidence level we have in the play being successful.
With Tommy's status kind of up in the air, will you go through this week kind of prepping Garrett to be a starter on Saturday, or will you be kind of a battle in practice?
No, we're going to get all 3 of them ready. So, Tommy, Garrett, KT, heck, we're going to get Jalen going too a little bit. So we'll see where it goes.
You have an unusual situation having Isaiah Zuber here, a guy that knows the Kansas State roster pretty well. Obviously schematically, things have changed a lot. So what, if any, information can you kind of gain personnel-wise about what the Wildcats will have?
Yeah. I mean, like any other time, you have a guy on the team that's familiar with an opponent. So I'm sure some of the guys will talk to him and kind of pick his brain on maybe some specific skills or tendencies or what can you find. But we're going to let him concentrate on his assignment and his execution, and we'll continue to game plan, and that's kind of where we are with that.
Logan in the front.
You mentioned all the coaching changes that Kansas State has had, but is there anything that you can gather from last year's film from a personnel standpoint, or how much will you even look at that when you get the game plan ready?
Yeah, we looked at it in the offseason, and like you said, more of it's personnel driven than schematics. But I know they returned a good number of starters on the defensive side of the ball, so they're showing up again on film through the first 2 games, and same on offense. So they've changed what they're doing schematically, so it would be more of a personnel driven comparison. And
on the pass that Osiris just missed, I guess, in the end zone, did you ever get an explanation of what happened? Did he lose the sun?
Yeah. It's unfortunate because Garrett finished 7 for 11, and you take that pass, which would have been a 50-yard touchdown pass, and then one where we had Peyton screaming open down the middle and had a little bit of a protection issue there. You know, those were two opportunities for another couple of real nice explosive plays that we had open. So you got to get some eye black on the first one, protect a little better on the second one, and get out of his hand, and a couple more explosive plays there. But the good news is they were open, so now we gotta wear eye black and protect a little better.
You mentioned Darryl was the player, offensive lineman of the week or whatever. I know he went out last week but was back this week. How important is he to this offensive line? I mean, he moved over from guard to center. It seems to be a seamless transition. He's, you know, a captain on the team. Just how important is he to the nucleus of that group?
I think it's probably similar to what you saw from Elton and Dion last year. You know, both guys who play any of the three interior positions, and that positional flexibility has been extremely beneficial for them at the next level, particularly when you have, you know, 53-man active roster and less of that to play on game day. So, you know, Darryl is the vocal and physical leader of our group inside, you know, who could play center and swing out to either the two guard positions, as you mentioned. But, you know, to have the team captain also be the kind of eyes and ears of the operation on the offensive line, that always, and like I said, Coach Johnson's doing a great job with them, but Darryl's certainly the straw that stirs the drink up front.
Joel and Ben.
You're talking about those receivers being open. How big of a role has Michael Johnson had with the development of this crew this year?
A huge role, and Michael brings a very, you know, his experience as a coordinator and a you know, play caller at the college and NFL level, and certainly, you know, played a little bit in the NFL and college. I think that immediate kind of what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? Bill, help me out. Credibility. He brings instant credibility to the room with what he had done in the past. English major, fumbling over my dang words. But what he's done as a coach and a player at both levels, I think brings instant credibility to the room. And I think more than anything of the X's and O's and the schematics, because I think he does a great job teaching fundamentals and technique and contributing to the game plan when we're in the staff room, is he's really developed great relationships with the kids in the room. It's the old deal. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think Michael's done a real good job interacting with our guys and letting them know that he cares about them as people before players. And I think you're seeing an elevated level of play because of all those specific reasons. Credibility, I'm tripping bad.
Coach, you mentioned the balance between the run and pass, and obviously having more balance this year. How much have you seen just with what Kylan's done? How much have you seen that open up the pass game a little bit more, especially downfield? And just, I guess, is there anything you point to maybe that has brought some more of that balance?
Why he's doing well, or why it's helping us be balanced?
Why do you think that Kylan, maybe the run game has helped open up the pass game, and or is there anything else you point to that maybe has brought some of that balance?
No, I think, you know, certainly his ability to run the ball kind of is, you know, exciting, and kind of talked prior to the season of his mental and physical maturation and how it was going to lead to a breakout season, and hopefully we continue to prepare the way he's preparing, and Coach Richardson's doing a good job with him. But as I've always said about this offense for years, and no one's really listening, but now they are, that the better you run the ball, the more it forces people to support the run by either numbers or pressure. And when you do that, you're able to create some one-on-one matchups on the back end, and it allows you to you know, get some balls thrown and create explosive plays. So I think that's what you've seen. That it kind of goes one of two ways. If they're worried about the pass, you see more too high, and you're able to hand the ball off more. And if they're worried about the run, they're either going to support you with too high secondary, or they're going to press you and create one-on-one matchups. And you ideally like it to be a kind of a choose your poison type of deal, that you're able to do both successfully, and whatever the defense is giving you, you take advantage of it.
Kind of on that front, you've gotten a couple of touchdowns from Nick Gibson in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him as kind of a compliment?
He's like instant offense.
Yeah.
Just add the football. Yeah, I mean, Nick's done a great job, you know, a great compliment to Kylan. Also a very good pass protector on third down, where we've utilized him in some of those situations. But Nick's a great team guy. He understands his role, you know, wants to be a part of it, and he's going to be. And, you know, he's just a guy where we continue to give him opportunities, and continues to produce. So between he and Kylan, it's a great 1-2 punch.
Steve in the back.
Couple of questions, Coach. Along the Colin Hill question there, he's done the hurdle thing a couple times now. I know some of that's a byproduct of defensive backs wanting to go low on him, but now that he's put that on tape a couple of times, what do you kind of expect going forward now that people know that he's gonna do it? Do you think their style of tackling against him will change?
Well, maybe fake low and go high. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend that either, because the problem with going high is he's built like a tank. And if you decide to tackle him above the waist, there's a pretty good chance you may get trucked. You know what I mean? So it's, what are you going to do to get him on the ground? So what button is it? It's hurdle? Is that R1, L1?
Yeah, it's one of those triggers.
Triangle.
Oh, triangle? Yeah, I've lost my touch a little bit. So he'll continue to hit the triangle button and hurdle him, and then whatever the truck stick one is, what's that?
That's just pressing down.
See, Brian knows. Yeah, maybe he'll do that one too. So we'll combine those. So he'll keep triangle button and then toggle. Maybe do a little bit of both.
Second question, Coach. Dante Jones has kind of emerged as a real threat in the tight ends group from a passing standpoint. What has he done to kind of emerge as that guy?
Yeah, it's a good problem to have there between, Farad, Dante, and then Spivey. Cumbus getting in a little bit, he's been banged up, so we're trying to get him rolling, and even Powers and Warren. There's a lot of talent and a lot of depth at that position. So, we're cycling all those guys through and getting them reps. And, we've talked about, just making sure that, a lot of it's based on what the defense is presenting you in terms of getting them targets down the field. So that's something they're doing a very good job in the run game. They're taking advantage of the opportunities they're getting in terms of receptions. But, we want to make sure that we're doing enough things like we've done historically in this offense to get the ball and push them down the field. So he's always been an athletic guy, a guy who can get open and catch the ball. I think we've seen the most improvement with him in his run game. And Farad's doing a great job running. He's taking advantage of the opportunity he's got in the pass game, but we got to get those guys more involved in the pass game.
Couple questions about the quarterbacks. Is there any play that you saw Tommy get injured, or was it just some fluky thing that happened over the course of the game?
That 3-and-out drive, I think it was 3 straight passes. I think it was one of those. It was one of the. I can't remember which one specifically, but it was on that drive.
Where he got sacked, I think.
Yeah, he got. I think it was a corner blitz, and he kind of got flushed out a little bit to the right. I think it was the second down play on that drive.
Yeah. And then you mentioned getting Jalen Mays ready to go, and unless I missed him, which is completely possible, I don't think he was dressed out. Has he been going through practices and is an active participant?
Yes.
All offseason, you talked about the focus of creating turnovers and getting the ball back, but obviously the success through 2 weeks. Is it more of an execution thing, or combination of taking advantage of teams' mistakes? What has maybe been some of the things that stand out to you at this point in terms of creating those turnovers?
I think like anything, you do well what you emphasize, and since spring ball, Coach Shoup and the staff we talk about shots on goal, which is our kind of concerted effort to get the ball out, and then the actual takeaway, and we do a turnover circuit at least twice a week during the course of practice, where the guys, like I say, get in groups and they go to the different position coaches and work on getting the ball out. I think Tyler asked a question. We talked about at the press conference after the game that the fabric of this defense is woven differently, you know what I mean, where you lose some of those key components who are, I use the term erasers, where you can make a call and they're going to make it right, even maybe if it wasn't the right call. But our sum has to be greater than our parts as an entire team this year, and defense as well. And I think for us, we're maybe not creating as many 3-and-outs or holding a team and forcing them to punt. And we're bend but not break. I don't want to use that, but our calling card, could be creating turnovers, and if we continue to do that, I think it'll benefit us throughout the season.
Guess it's kind of like a weekly programming note, but anything on Kareem Walker, Allen Love, waiver-wise?
Allen's waiver or appeal was denied, and then I don't know, what am I allowed to?
We have no update right now.
Okay, we have no update right now. Sorry.
Like we said last. Anything else?
That's everything?
Any comments on the game last night?
Who do they play next week?
Hopefully the Browns.
Browns?
Seahawks.
Who is it?
Seahawks.
We're on to Seattle. All right, y'all stay.